it's a really hot day here, and I've been pruning a bit of lavender because this is the time of the year. So here we are in the beginning of sort of August, and it's a good time to prune lavender. You can prune it a little bit earlier, and what you're trying to do is wait for it, just those flower spikes just have gone over and the bees are finished, and then if you prune it, it'll put all its energy into that lovely bluey grey foliage rather than all the energy into seeding and producing those little nutlets. The word lavender comes from the word to wash, and the French, you know, that's the word they use for lavo, to wash, and the Greeks and the Romans apparently used to put lavender prunings in their bath as an essential oil. Lots of types of lavender, and you can look at angustifolia, the lovely narrow-leafed lavender, and there's hidcote with that lovely deep violet blue sort of colour which looks fantastic. It's one of the smaller lavenders. There's the pink lavender, angustifolia rosea, which is another good choice. And then you've got the lovely Munstead, which Gertrude Jekyll would have used when she created her gardens just at the end of the 18th and the beginning of the 1900s. And there's obviously the bigger lavenders like Grappenhall and Grosso, and then there's the French lavender, the little French lavender, Lavandulus stoicus pedunculata, with those little sort of ball-like flowers on the top. Slightly more tender, so we have to be a bit careful with that one, and it's worth taking a few cuttings off it just to be sure that you've got it the following year. So let's have a look at how we prune lavender. We're also going to include pruning Erysimum bulbs mauve and Nepeta, because you can treat them in the same way. So let's take a look. So what we're doing is we're going to cut this lavender back, and you can see that you've got the spikes, these lavender spikes, and what we want to do is aim for just below them, about an inch into the slightly older wood. So what you'll get a nice lot of new growth. So when it comes to pruning lavender, you've got to look at it closely. The normal way is to shear it every year quite hard, about an inch or so into the shoots. So you cut the old flower heads off, but cut them a bit lower. So you are shearing a bit. It keeps it nice and compact, but of course sometimes you forget and the lavender gets older and woodier, and you end up with this kind of thing with lavender and rosemary. And what you've got to do is you've got to look at it and see, is there any shoots low down? And in this case, there are some shoots just here, so that's good. But if you didn't have any shoots and it went really silvery and woody, then there's a good chance it would die. So there's no guarantee when you cut a lavender back hard it's going to live. But if you've got the shoots, then the plant is telling you that that will be okay. You can rejuvenate it. So literally by cutting hard back to the shoots, this will rejuvenate this lavender and make it a better plant. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut in just a bit below. So you're aiming for about there. So you're going to get sort of a cut there. And of course we can keep all the arisings, all these sort of prunings, and that could make a potpourri, or you know, they're great. You can even put them in the bath and different things like that to give you sort of a bit of relaxation. That's what the Greeks and the Romans used to do, put them in their bath. And so it's kind of a quick snapping action if you're using the shears, and try and sort of go with the shape of the lavender so you're maintaining a good shape. Or so you might be fortunate. I've got a Nepeta here, which is a really lightweight machine, and this is you know, quite good. So I can literally come in and we can shear it around. Okay, you can collect up all these little spikes, these flower spikes, and just put them all together. Just a little bit more pruning on the far side. So here we've got some lovely French lavender. This is Laventulus stochas, and sometimes you get it with this sort of bunched top, and sometimes it has this little butterfly or papillon on the top. And again, it's the same thing. Just go in about an inch below the base of the flower and just shear it, just so it puts that energy back into producing this lovely silvery growth. And we'll just kind of whip that off. I'm just whipping that back a bit as well, just to get it to, what we don't want it is to go too woody, and that will cause a real problem. And so we'll do that. I can see there's some allium seed as well, which might be worth collecting if there's any left. There's a bit of stachys here, which, sorry, there's a bit of salvia. So this, again, similar thing, just give it a chop. And that will just strengthen it up a little bit for next year. There's a little bit more here. And that's just tidied that up nicely, and we'll keep that strength going in the French lavender. So we're going to have a look at Erysimum bulbs mauve as well, because you can treat it in a similar way. And the beauty about removing the flower spikes is that, you know, at the moment the plant is putting about 25 to 40% of its energy into producing seed. In the case of lavender, it's these little nutlets, and in the case of the Erysimum bulbs mauve, then it produces these little siliquas of seed, which takes a lot of energy from the plant. So we're going to redirect that energy to restore that nice foliage. So let's go and have a look. So the technique I'm using is just going in again about an inch below the base of the flower. Just get round the back. So another plant that we can cut the flower heads off is Nepeta, and what we normally do is sort of wait until the butterflies and bees have pretty much finished with it, just the final bits. Actually, there is perhaps an odd bee in here now, but normally wait for that to finish. The flowers are pretty much gone, and again you want to preserve this nice bluey silvery foliage, and if we leave it longer it'll just, you know, start to go into older sort of material. The leaves will go brown and it will start to look not very nice. So I'm going to give it a shear, and so again you can use the shears again going in about an inch below those flower spikes, or with the trimmer we can do it obviously a lot quicker, and we can go in, you can go in a bit harder around the base, especially, you know, if it's overhanging a path and you want to just trim it up a bit. This is quite invasive, so I'm going to cut it back, and I'm going to put all the all flowers all together and just leave it for a while, let the bees use up the last little bit of nectar. Pull all that together. So I've just got to trim a little bit more in here.
That's it there.
Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at pruning of lavender and Erysimum and Nepeta. If you enjoyed it, just click the like button and hit the subscribe and the notification bell, and you'll get notified of the next video. Okay, see you soon.